Hi, good morning. This is a review of lesson 182 on A Course in Miracles. It says, I will be still an instant and go home. Let me try to reduce the noise in here. Back on the road, heading camping again, this time local for my family reunion. They camp all week, and so this time I'm trying to camp a few days before our family reunion and a day after. So I'm following my husband now. He's taking our kayaks down, so I'm right behind him, and it feels good to be back. All camping stuff taken out from the last trip over the last week, washed, cleaned, reorganized, and repacked. Oh, I love packing for a trip. Oh my god, it's one of my favorite things. I know, it's weird. So I will be still an instant and go home. I really liked this lesson, and I don't really like a lot of them, but I really liked this one because it's talking about how it's a very universal, very common feeling a lot of us have. If you're watching this, it's likely you've had that feeling. Some people, maybe they don't have the feeling because they don't think about something beyond this physical existence. Like, they think maybe this is all there is, and they're happy with that. You know, maybe they don't contemplate things, maybe they don't sense into that feeling, but the feeling so I recognize it may not be universal, but I feel like it kind of is. It's a human thing. And that feeling it's talking about in this, so that I will be still a while and go home, what it first starts out in the lesson is talking about how there's this yearning, there's this feeling inside that's like we almost feel like an alien here in this physical reality and on this earth, whatever, in this body, where it's like I feel like I'm not home, like I'm apart from, separate from my home, or like I have this inkling, a memory, like the faintest of faintest memories of something, like I came from somewhere else, and I'm always trying to get back there, experience whatever that is again. The getting back there is the experiencing of that feeling of, oh wait, I kind of feel like I prefer that other place to this, whatever this is. And then because it's such a faint feeling, a lot of us don't think about this for a big portion of our lives, yet we have that feeling that leads us into patterns of attachment, you know, like trying to fill up our lives. They're like, oh, I'll do this, that'll make me feel whole, it'll make me feel fulfilled. Okay, well now I'll go off and do this because that thing, it worked a little bit, but it wasn't quite it. And so it's like this life of like figuring out, getting closer and closer to what that, you know, trying to get closer, but maybe never really getting closer to that wholeness. I don't know what else to call it. Fulfilled, that's a loaded word. Wholeness, I feel like it kind of describes that feeling of like there's something missing and I'm trying to fill it up to become a whole, like to fill up the pie pieces, you know, to make that. And so we spend our lives, a lot of us, doing that, searching, filling up, you know, like trying out things for size, experiences, people, relationships, whatever, jobs, different career paths, lives of service, like getting into like less consumerism, more lives of service. Like, okay, that maybe feels a little closer, like from speaking from my personal experience, like, okay, I had something about just making bigger companies bigger. I was a big project manager, like doing really big projects for big companies. And it was like, yeah, but I'm just like making these big giant corporations a little bit more money, or saving them a lot of money, which basically, you know, gives them more profit to their shareholders. And it's like, what am I doing? Like, not that that's shaming anybody else who finds fulfillment in that, because we're all unique individuals. For me, at some point, the funness of what I was doing, like the accumulation of new skills, you know, soft skills, hard skills, all the skills. Like I was becoming very skilled and skilled interrelationally because I was leading people and technology and business and all. I went so much education my whole life, accumulating knowledge, experiences, trying to get everything out of this life. And yet there was still this, for me, this like, yeah, but what? I don't, like, what? There's something missing. Then COVID happened, and it was a year of big change for the whole world. And for me personally, I got to stop being on a plane every 2 weeks to another project or to my clients, and I got to be home and be still. And this relates back to the lesson that I will be still a while and come home was a truth for me. I was able to like physically be still, which also not only like quieted my mind of like planning, because I was a project manager. That's like my life, planning, moving, on the move, go, do. And I was like, whoosh, working from home where it's like my physical movement stopped, which helped I had less planning to do. I could focus more on being still. And then I was like, oh, this is nice. I want more of this stillness. And so I have to imagine that, you know, I was reading, I was like, oh my God, I have time to read books, not on a plane. Whoa. Like a real book, not on a Kindle, or, you know, and like getting more, it feels like I'm kind of reflecting now even more, but it feels like I came more into like closer to myself, like closer to physical things. Like everything was like digital in my world. Everything, it was such a weird thing. And then to come home and like, oh, I can interact with like the things I love and the people I love, and then started like really kind of coming home to myself even more. And then I was like, I'm out. Peace out, brothers. I am not renewing my contract. I am going to trust that I don't need this salary as much as I think I need it. And then I'm going to make room through the stillness to see what's ready to come in. Now, I didn't have those exact thoughts. All I knew was like, ooh, that stillness gave me time to realize what wasn't right. That feeling, I was able to slow it down and like see it more clearly, I guess, instead of just this thing I was running away from or like filling up and trying to distract from with the go and the consumerism. Like I was spending too much money. I was like, it was not great by the end of this long career in what I was doing, which took me farther from myself. And then to come back home, I was like, whoa, this is what's missing. I don't know. I just got closer to it. I couldn't define it yet. I still try to do that. Like, what is still not right? You know, you kind of triangulate the experience, like hone in on it. And so I'm still doing that. That thing is getting smaller and smaller because I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to home, like the lesson talks about. So for me, that's why I liked this lesson so much, I guess, is it was a very real experience for me to, like, through all of that, come into the stillness, which then revealed, oh, what's missing? How do I keep coming closer, like, to home, which actually reduced the amount of unwholeness I had. So it's like to come home to self, to come home to like your true essence of, it's like I could start to recognize, it was like a slowing down. That stillness creates breathing room and space and time and all of this, like spaciousness to recognize things for what they are, the distractions for what they are, the negative thought patterns for what they are, my relationship, you know, like the way I behaved in relationships that wasn't healthy, like all of this stuff just became more and more apparent to me, even if I couldn't put it in these words back then. It was just, wow, I can see it right here in front of me now, instead of just this like, what is this? And then, okay, I'm going to distract. I don't like that feeling. So that's what this lesson means, how it hit me. Ooh, we're going to turn. Hold on. Oh, my phone's plugged in, and when I turned, the cable was like, not letting me turn. That's not good. We're safe, don't worry. So I think the stillness, and I practice this in my trauma healing practice too, we slow things way down, because weirdly enough, like when you slow a movement down, like you're coming towards stillness. You're even slowing down the movement of, like, have you ever tried just making a fist and slowing it down and notice what happens in the rest of your body? Wow. Like, because certain postures are preparatory for defense or fight. So it's like your body has all this wisdom, and it's like coming home to self is coming home to our body, coming home to our spirit, coming home to our heart, coming home to recognize what our thoughts, recognizing them as illusory, like they're illusions. They're just like stuff that just keeps us in cycles of angst and worry and unwholeness. And so the stillness is like a constant slowing down. It's almost like to be completely still is like, whoa, that's sometimes too much. But just to slow. I tell people, like, go comically slow, go weirdly slow. It's going to seem funny at first just how slow you're going, but then a whole ocean of stuff comes up as waves, even just very gentle waves, and you can ride those waves, and those waves just want to like leave the body, you know, in a very gentle way. But we're by our distractions, we constantly tamp down those things. But by the unstillness, we don't come home to ourselves to recognize those things for what they are and let them move through us and out of us. So that's what this lesson meant to me. It was very deep for me, because I try to practice this with clients, and there is a whole, like, even if you don't believe anything exists beyond this physical world, there's a whole bunch of stuff yet to discover in this physical world, and it's actually inside of us, and we are so much bigger on the inside than the outside. It's like a continual, like, Alice down the rabbit hole through the looking glass, it's like what my husband would call the TARDIS, because he's a Doctor Who fan. So you Doctor Who fans, I can't speak to it because I've seen a couple episodes. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it with you. It's not my thing. But the TARDIS is so much bigger on their vehicle through space and time or whatever. I don't know. Is much bigger on the inside, and that's how I feel like we are as humans. Even if you don't tap into your spiritual nature, funny thing, going inside is tapping into your spiritual nature. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same. So again, I'm going to stop here because I could go on and on about this lesson. It might be one of my favorites. It talks about a lot of stuff, and maybe I'm way off topic, but I only reflect on how it hits me, and that's how it hit me, because it starts off by talking about this little voice, this like inkling of a little, something's not right. I don't feel whole. What is that? And the answer is to get closer and closer to stillness and slow it way down. Just make time for that. And that's hard too, because sometimes I just don't wanna. I just want to put on a TV show and distract, and that's fine too. It's fine to do that. So everything's fine. There's no problem here. And so, but the more we can maybe choose one day not stillness, like, or a walking meditation. I love walking meditation where you just like walk really, really slowly and just sort of like turn your head slowly and just sort of like zoom in on things, get curious about things. I think also what this makes me think about is that a deep curiosity, or even just an inkling of a curiosity, is helpful. And then that curiosity, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it develops. And then everything, that's what I mean, like, then everything becomes like, oh, well, now I really want to keep finding time and for stillness, like making space for that to happen. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, I did this yesterday. And I was like, that was amazing. So I was sitting there having coffee in the morning by myself before anyone was awake. And there's a car between me and my husband now. I gotta make sure he's up there. Oh, there's two cars. Where is he? I don't know. Where am I going? I have my GPS on. And I've been here a million times. I should know how to get there. So I was sitting there having coffee. And I thought, ooh, I want to watch this podcast that I didn't finish. I was going to just finish it while I got, and then I'm like, oh my God, all these windows right here. There's the sun coming up. There's the birds at the new bird feeder. There's just like, well, just stop. Like the sun, the way it was starting to come through the trees, something told me to just stop. So I'm like, I put my phone aside and sat there a moment, and all of a sudden these birds just went whoosh, like did this crazy thing I've never seen before, and it just like struck me as so beautiful. And I was like, freaking podcasts, what else am I missing out on by watching all these podcasts? But it was just a simple moment of like choosing, because I guess it's all a choice, like choosing curiosity and stillness over essentially distraction, even though I love to distract with gaining knowledge, and like I feel like I'm connecting with other people who are like have similar interests to mine through, and it's a comforting, like these podcasts, like wherever I'm seeking knowledge and connection, it's comfort. Just like anything, just like watching a rom-com or whatever. It's comfort to know, oh my God, there's something out there that soothes me, and knowledge is soothing, and finding people with similar interests is soothing in the form of podcasts with the, guests come on and speak. So I'm like, but to choose, so it's not a bad thing in and of itself. It's just making a choice. I thought, okay, well, instead of like technically distraction from presence, I chose presence, and it rewarded me with like this whoosh of beauty, and I was just like, whoa, it's like a shock, and my husband's texting me, I don't know, like if something happened to him, so I better check. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I shouldn't be, oh, there he is, I see him, we're all good. So anyway, I guess everything's a choice to come back home into stillness, to be curious enough about what's left to discover on this inside that is also reflected on the outside, and vice versa. And it's just like, there's endless wonder. There's just it's endless. It's infinite to come into presence through stillness. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for sticking around for this one. I loved it. 182. Bye.